When I was a reporter on tonight's news at 5 p.m., breaking news, we go to Stephen Pope, reporter. Yeah, that was me. I'm so glad I'm no longer in it because it was taxing, super taxing. It took me over a year to figure out e-commerce was where I needed to go. Started my Amazon guide, and because of the education roots, I decided that from day one, I was going to make content and share everything I knew. We have more than 400 Filipinos that work for us, and Roxanne just actually welcomed me to the Philippines 2 months ago.
Hello everyone! Today is a very, very special interview used to students, Amazon sellers, VAs are the stars of this channel. So very special that I needed a backup because I'm here with Apollo. And Apollo, why do you think it is very special?
This is a very special interview because we'll be having here in Amazenation one of the most respected personality in the industry worldwide. He has established his footprint in Amazon with multiple brands and companies, which includes one of the biggest Amazon FBA agency, which was actually recognized as the 334th fastest growing company in the USA in 2022 Inc. 5,000 annual list. And I'm very excited to pick his brains and learn from him. So for our viewers, I hope you have a pen and paper with you because you're in for a treat.
Yes, indeed. A majority of Filipino Amazon VAs know this consultancy agency. Like when people found out that, oh, you are part of his VAs, we're like, you must be part of an Ivy League school. So our guest is actually My Amazon Guy consultancy agency that specializes in growing Amazon businesses.
It's recognized actually within the e-commerce and Amazon seller communities for its expertise in strategies that help businesses increase their visibility, sales, operational efficiency on the Amazon platform.
And please all welcome My Amazon Guy and Miss Roxanne Villanueva, the head of HR. Thank you so much, guys, being here with us tonight. How are you all doing?
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. Roxy's the person who keeps our ships running at My Amazon Guy. We have thousands of people that apply every year, and she's the gatekeeper. Good person to write down. Yeah, we have more than 400 Filipinos that work for us, and Roxanne just actually welcomed me to the Philippines 2 months ago and showed me all around the great islands. We went to everywhere from El Nido all the way to Boracay and everywhere in between. And so it was awesome. Roxanne just put on a summit. We can call it a leadership summit, call it a get-together summit, culture enrichment, whatever you want to call it. It was just great to be able to shake hands, take lots of selfies. I learned what finger hearts are and and just had a good time. I like to joke sometimes that Filipinos are more American than I am because there's so much culture that you guys have and know and understand. And so I'm in love with the culture of the Philippines. I've made multiple trips out, and it's definitely part of our culture at My Amazon Guy as well. And as proof of that, Roxanne is on the executive. We're not just hiring VAs. We're hiring Filipino leaders and everywhere in between, managers, you name it.
Nice. Yeah. Apollo?
I'm just curious, Steven, what's the favorite place that you visited so far? You just mentioned that you went here in the Philippines and visited lots of tourist attractions. So what's in the top of your list so far?
So without a doubt, this is going to make Roxanne blush because it's her hometown of Cebu, and canyoneering, without a doubt, is my absolute favorite thing to do. And last year, when I had the opportunity to do canyoneering for the first time, I was halfway down the canyon and I said, you know what? I'm going to extend my trip in the Philippines because this was so awesome. And I stayed longer. And of course, the people around me had to help figure out how to make that happen. And so it was lots of fun. If I wanted some action, I'd go down to Boracay because I got to do a lot of fun things in the air and under the water and on the water. And, it's obviously a giant tourist trap down in Boracay, no question about that, but very beautiful beach with a lot of fun activities. I got a good mix. Roxanne showed me around everywhere.
Philippines is really all about adventure and fun, especially the beach in Boracay. Did you go partying?
So I'm a very boring individual. I don't drink. I don't do any of those fun extracurricular activities. So partying for me might include a pina colada and sitting on the beach by myself.
Swear, that's the best. Watching the sunset.
Absolutely absolutely watching the sunset. Very calm. I brought my family out. So I took all 5 of my kids. Can you imagine having 5 children, 8 and under on a 20-hour airplane?
20-hour airplane. Hopefully, in the next trip, you'll be here in the Philippines again with your family, exploring more beaches.
I would love to. The beaches are amazing. Every island's a different adventure.
Even as a
Go,
true
Roxanne.
blue Filipino, he's a foodie, so he's tried all of our food without a doubt. Yeah, so he's tried all of our delicacies. His favorite, by the way, is mangoes. So he always says that we have the best mangoes he's ever tasted. And he just tried it all, from seafood to the not so common Filipino food. Even as a huge foodie, you ask him about Filipino food, he's able to try it.
Have you
The mango
challenged
steam.
him to try balot, Roxanne?
Yeah.
Yes.
You ate the whole part, even the baby chick?
I did. It's crazy. You guys are creating new foods that I would never have seen anywhere else. That's for sure.
Filipinos love food so much. And great to hear that you had an amazing time spending time at Boracay, El Nido, and trying balut. By the way, we found out that your previous job was working in the news. And I can hear your
Yeah.
voice that you really are a newscaster.
On tonight's news at 5 p.m., breaking news. We go to Stephen Pope, reporter. Yeah, that was me. Had a good time. I loved being out and about and asking people questions or doing short stories on fun and crazy things. But I have to tell you, the news industry is super toxic. I'm so glad I'm no longer in it because it was taxing, super taxing.
Is it different in the e-commerce world?
Oh, absolutely. So what happened to me, I was in Wisconsin, which is in the north Midwest of the United States. So super high up on, the northern hemisphere, so to speak. And during the winter, we had a blizzard that came through. We're talking 5 feet, 6 feet of snow, and everybody was home in their pajamas at 10 p.m. at night. Well, guess what Stephen Pope was doing? I was doing a live weather hit. I had hair then. Literally froze over. And I couldn't even see the cameraman who was standing in front of me. He gave me the cue to go on, and I just stared at him because I couldn't see him. And so I looked like an idiot. I felt like a fool. And it was at that moment I was like, you know what? I don't want to be doing this anymore. I want to do something different. I didn't know what different was at that very moment in time. It took me over a year to figure out e-commerce was where I needed to go. When I was growing up, I sold on eBay. The very first thing I ever sold online was a Magic the Gathering card. Paulo, you ever played Magic? Maybe?
Is that Yu-Gi-Oh cards?
Similar to Yu-Gi-Oh. All right.
Similar to Yu-Gi-Oh
yeah.
cards, yes.
Yeah, we got the Asian influence. And Magic the Gathering, MTG, I sold what's called a Sliver Queen from the Stronghold Edition. So for the super nerds that are paying attention, if you understood that reference, there is a 9 out of 10 chance I want you to apply at my Amazon guy right now because we love hiring nerds. We even have dedicated Slack channels for games. We got some LOL players. We got some Dota players, gamers, nerds. Please sign up at MAG. We love you. Used to be a reporter. Last thought I'll share here is I translated the ability to ask questions and to communicate thoughts and stories into my career as an agency owner and as an educator, right? Everything that I do, I like to joke that MAG is an education company that happens to be an agency. And so this is why we share all of our knowledge. It's why we're always trying to push the industry to adopt new trends, whether it's SEO or PPC and design and whatnot. I find that the knowledge sharing gives me a lot of passion, right? And to teach and to help people. And so when I was a reporter, I would frequently talk to people, be the best day of their life or the worst day of their life. And usually not a lot of in between. I talked to somebody whose their house just burned down. I talked to the mayor when they lost their reelection. I talked to somebody who just won an award, best day of their life, worst day of their life. And so stories are lots of fun, and being able to integrate and talk to people and interact, I think is a lot of fun.
Yes, it is a lot of fun. And I agree with you. I think you're gonna gain a lot of logical and analytical people if you will hire nerds. They're good at problem solving.
You need that on Amazon.
Strategy.
Correct.
It's very interesting that you are branding My Amazon Guy as a knowledge organization. We're in like an education hub. Can you elaborate more on what led you to founding My Amazon Guy and also what inspired you to start this agency with that goal of building like an education hub? Because I also found out that your background is MBA and BS in communication. That's why it's also aligned with communication and also education.
It is. When I had my in-between job, so right after I was a television reporter, I had decided to quit that very night, but it was 2 weeks later they fired me. Like, it wasn't going well. It was bad. It was not good for them. It wasn't good for me, right? Yeah. And I had decided to go get an in-between job. So I went back to home, moved in with the in-laws. I was like, I'll take any job, like anything. I was desperate. I was like in debt. It was like rock bottom of my financial wealth and health, everything. Just like everything that went wrong. And so I took an in-between job as an enrollment counselor at a college, and it was for Western Governors University. And this college was a competency-based model. So I fell in love with this. Just absolutely fell in love with it. I completed my MBA in 4 months, which sounds like I got a paper mill degree. But in reality, the competency-based model allowed me to take every test and just prove I knew the material. And so it went very quick. I picked up my MBA. The day I got my MBA, I applied for a promotion at Western Governors University, and they turned me down. And I was like, what do you mean you turned me down? They're like, come on, I'm the greatest, whatever, right? The hubris. And so I was really sad about that. I was like, great, what am I gonna do now? How many of you guys have ever applied for a promotion, get turned down that you thought was like a slam dunk? I came with this idea. There was a sister company called Straighterline, another education company that was in college, but they sold classes online. And I told them, I was like, hey, Western Governors University, I tripled their retention rates for old cold leads. Here's my data. Like actual use case. I did my capstone project on my MBA. That company hired me within 24 hours. They're like, yes, we need that. Come over here now. And I went out to Baltimore in Maryland on the East Coast of the United States. And that was my first e-commerce job. From there, I worked for 5 failed startups. It was a roller coaster event of ups, high highs, low lows, and eventually, after the last startup failed, that's when I decided, I was like, I'm so tired of working for these dysfunctional organizations that like fail. Even when I do my job and I grow them, they still fail because they stink. I'm going to work for myself now. And so that's what I did. Started my Amazon guy. And because of the education roots, I decided that from day one, I was going to make content and share everything I knew, every trade secret. And that made me grow super fast, because what happens when you share knowledge is it attracts people. If I had never had made a single piece of content, we would not be on this call today. You would not know who I was. But because we build content and we share everything we know, it's magical.
Actually, we found out that you are giving away trade secrets with over 1,500 video tutorials. I really agree. Once you give value to the audience, then they will give value back, and you establish credibility and they will trust you more. Wow, that's very interesting.
We hear all the time from people, from the Amazenation, that they would take a new job. The new job would tell them, go do XYZ on Amazon. Fix this ticket, troubleshoot this, whatever. And they'd be like, I have no idea how to do this. So what do? They Google it, and then they find my video, because I have a video on every single catalog troubleshooting problem. And then they would watch the videos and they're like, oh my gosh, thank God, Steven, thank you so much. And then 6 months later, this has happened 4, 5, 6 times. And they're like, every single time I Google this problem and you got a video on it. I want to work for you, Steven. And they'd come over and apply. And so there's a huge reason and benefit to doing it the way we do it. But even for the thousands of people who never apply at MAG that we can help, that's a meaningful impact in the world. I really want to be useful to the world.
Thank you so much. I actually remember I was working on my client's listing. It was about a suppressed listing, and I just typed it on literally on YouTube, and I saw your video. It was very informative. You really shared the steps on how to troubleshoot it. And right now, today is a very circled moment that now I am interviewing you right now. Thank you so much for sharing value to the world and sharing your vulnerability with us, that you undergo being fired, being rejected. It feels uplifting that someone like Stephen Pope also experienced that in life. Makes me feel like maybe I have a good future if Stephen Pope experienced that in his lifetime.
That's true. And to add to our culture of learning, we also hire interns, by the way. That means that even with zero Amazon experience, we hire them periodically. So every month we share our hiring in our LinkedIn page, in our Facebook page. So we hire people straight out from college We don't require work experience at all. We even hire people who didn't graduate to college. As what they say, right? Sometimes it's just a piece of diploma. There are a lot of factors why someone doesn't necessarily graduate college. We don't make that as a requirement in our hiring. What we do require in our hiring is for a person to have really high drive. We like people with high drive. We like people with keen attention to details. We really like people, who feel that they would thrive in a fast-paced environment because ours is an agency with a lot of client lists. Yeah. So you gotta be prepared emotionally and mentally to go through the marathon with us. So we like hiring interns, by the way. We have a huge success rate for interns. In fact, our directors didn't all start out as directors when they joined My Amazon Guys. Some of them started as an Amazon specialist. Some of them started as an Amazon brand managers. We don't really require people to have extensive background or work experience. For my experience when I'm in HR, I've noticed that those without experience are really successful in My Amazon Guide because they don't need to unlearn practices that were incorrectly shared to them by previous employers. And it's like giving information to a blank piece of canvas. And that way, they are able to really master the art of selling in Amazon from the My Amazon Guy himself. So that's how great the culture is at My Amazon Guy, wherein it doesn't really matter where you came from. What matters is what you want to do with the opportunity that has been given to you by My Amazon Guy. And I think I stumbled upon My Amazon Guy 2 years ago. I honestly did not expect to be part of the executive team, to be honest. So who would have thought, right? Someone, a Cebuana like me, all the way out here in the mountains, because I live in the mountains of Cebu, would get to be part of Stephen Pope's executive team. So this is a true testament.
I've been to Roxy's house, by the way.
Really?
Yes. When we went canyoneering, Stephen Pope picked me up. That's really how we value culture of learning and teaching other people. We want to be able to preach what we feel is the right way to manage an Amazon business versus what you see that's being hyped a lot in social media. Stephen Pope, from what I know of him, is very transparent. He will not tell you what you want to hear. He will tell you as it is.
Radical candor, manager core value, no doubt.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Roxanne, for that, because there's lots of aspiring VAs, Amazon seller VAs for sure are wanting to enter My Amazon Guy. So I hope you took down notes. You should be driven, keen, or have attention to details and can thrive in a fast-paced environment. It doesn't matter where you came from. What matters is where you want to go. Thank you, Roxanne, for that. All of the viewers are very much excited to have opportunity with My Amazon Guy.
In fact,
I bet you've probably hired like 50 people from your company from everything that you guys have done.
Yeah.
So at least.
In fact, one of our trainers came from Amazenation. Also, it's fun to share as well that during the summit, since we invited everyone to physically be in the summit venue for My Amazon Guy, this is how remote the location is. This person went to the summit and it took her almost 2 days to get to the summit because there was no airplane in her area. So she had to take, the rowboat or the speedboat that's really small and can only take up to 10 passengers at a time. So she had to take that first and then go to the next destination and so forth and so on. That just means that as long as you got good internet connection, guys, we will hire. Yeah.
But I'm not going to take a speedboat to visit you because the speedboat with the high waves, whew, oh my goodness. Jeez. Not again. Never doing that one again. That was a one time
Yeah. We actually
were screaming.
experienced that, the similar thing, the big waves. We're gonna get so dizzy.
I had my kids on there and we were hitting 4 feet, 6 feet in the air. I swear it was nuts.
It is very challenging when you experience waves, especially if you want to be part of the summit, right? And the speedboat is only your option. Speaking of challenges, we want to know during the first stages of Stephen Pope's establishing My Amazon Guy, were there so many challenges on the first days when you were like building your agency?
Absolutely. I kept hiring people and not knowing how to lead them. Like every problem I've ever had running an agency is 100% always people. You need three things to run a business. You need a product, you need a process. Those two things, super easy for me. No problem. I got that unlocked. But the people thing, oh my goodness, I'm a super introvert. I can't read a room. I had to hire extroverts like Roxanne to tell me what people were actually thinking. I had to onboard a software called Culture Index because I couldn't predict behavior. But then that data allowed us, part of our onboarding process, by the way, hiring process, is to take a Culture Index survey. It takes like 5 minutes, super short. And it allows us to predict people. And it's really important because I can't understand I'm going to get from somebody by talking to them, right? Like an interview, in my opinion, is used only for one purpose: to validate what we already believe about somebody. I don't think an interview can tell me something new about somebody or will compel me to hire them. I usually make the decision to hire somebody before I get on the first interview. And not a lot of companies can say that. That's part of our process and whatnot. So all of the problems I've ever had have always been people challenges. In agencies, it's a high churn industry, both on clients as well as on employees. And the reason for that is there's a lot of factors, but the primary one is that because agencies are so chaotic, they're very taxing. It's a lot of burn, right? Like it's relentless. You have to understand that the client every week is thinking what Janet Jackson famously saying, "What have you done for me lately?" Right? Like they constantly want deliverables non-stop. And then if you got more than one client, boom, 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 nonstop deliverable here, nonstop deliverable over here. And so finding the right people to get them on the bus at MAG was not easy. I got a lot of lucky hires early on. You know, I've been blessed with the people that I've found, but it wasn't until I started hiring Filipinos that we really took off. When I first started out the company, it was 8 people in my basement by the end of year 1. And the fire marshal came by and he's like, "Hey man, you can't do this. You can't run a business out of your basement. Like this is a neighborhood. You get out of here." The next day we were like, "Okay, we're going remote." So I no longer had to hire local talent. And then I started hiring international talent immediately. And from there, my first hire was a designer. And then I hired a virtual assistant, merchandiser, you know, helping with flat files and stuff. And from there, it just really took off. All my problems can be summarized in that single word: people.
I heard from some of my Amazenation buddies, actually, there's a hearsay that Stephen Pope doesn't or hires extroverted people, only introvert people. Is that true?
I may have said that I seek out introverts. That's probably did that sometime online somewhere. But to be clear, certain roles at My Amazon Guy are benefited by extroverts. Roxanne is an extrovert as one key example, and she's on my executive team. So if I really felt like I didn't want to hire extroverts, I wouldn't have Roxanne on my executive team. But statistically speaking, I would say about 8 out of 10 people at MAG are an introvert. Certain roles do better with an introvert versus an extrovert. That is true. A lot of people may not understand the difference or the definition of introvert versus extrovert, right? I'll define it for you. Extroverts seek, need social attention. They speak to think. More often than not, an extrovert is inductive. They learn through observation versus making mistakes. So an introvert, more often than not, is deductive. They have to make mistakes to learn how to do something. I am very deductive. I make lots and lots of mistakes, but I'm a hummingbird. That's my spirit animal. And I iterate and I flap my wings really fast and I fix it super quick. So that's been the key to my success. Introverts do not seek social attention. And they don't talk to think. They think and then they speak. In the Amazon troubleshooting aspects, an introvert will have an edge. And that's generally because you can't talk to somebody at Amazon and actually get help, right? You got to build a flat file. You got to file the 17th ticket for that same dumb issue just to update the title, right? Like there's so many things that you have to do. I love hiring introverts. We also love hiring extroverts, but it is role specific.
Correct. Steven's motto is always right person at the right seat. So in my Amazon guy, when you apply for a position and we receive your application and we feel that the position that you've applied for is not the right seat for you, instead of declining your application, we usually reach out to you to offer you the seat that we feel is best suited for you. So that is how awesome our hiring process is, unlike other companies wherein if you apply for a certain position and you don't necessarily pass the requirements of that position, they immediately give you a rejection, right? But in my Amazon guy, we don't do that. We actually offer you the seat that we feel is right for you, and at the same time talk to you about that job to see if it sparks your interest. So that's how we go about our hiring process. And at the same time, with us doing that, it has proven to be successful, wherein that person is working in a position that is usually their natural tendency or their natural environment. So that's why they don't really get burnt out. They don't feel that the environment is toxic because they like doing what they're doing in the first place. So that's how we roll at my Amazon guy. We usually suggest the right seat for you if we feel that you've applied for a position that might not be the right one for you.
Nice. So for those extroverts out there, so to clear things up, so my Amazon guy is hiring extroverts, but
Yes.
they just fill in the right spots for the right person because certain roles are evolving also. So that means that you need to have a certain skill set and also attitude, as what Roxanne mentioned a while ago, for you to fit in that position. So I think the right word is to fit for that. And speaking of evolving, like for example, roles are evolving in my Amazon guy and Amazon in general. What are the things that you're seeing or the future of e-commerce aligned with what you mentioned a while ago, Steven, that you also adapt to new trends such as PPC and design, being the My Amazon guy as an education hub? So what are the trends for Amazon, and also I think for future people who will be applying in My Amazon guy, what is something that we should look forward to and anticipate?
Okay, so I think talent is in super demand right now. I think experienced talent has a major edge. And as your company and our company builds up the population of talent, it's going to be really, really valuable, right? So this is career-changing opportunities for people entering into the space. As time goes on, we're going to see the talent game get better, right? So we're in the infancy of the talent sector in our space. Somebody with 3 months of experience is going to find a really easy time getting hired. That's not going to be true 5 years from now. People need to understand getting in now, huge advantage, like first mover advantage, right? We're going to have an upward trajectory. And then at some point, there's going to be a glut of talent. I don't know when that's going to be. It could be 5 years out, could be 10 years out. And then we're going to see it stabilize. But right now, without a doubt, we're on the way up. Amazon, on the other side, has the reverse problem. The platform is entering its maturity phase. It's peaked, and it's making it harder for sellers. We're going to see the sellers decline. We're going to see it harder to make a profit on the platform. FBA fees have gone up. The maturity of the platform has gone up. It's harder to get to sell on the platform. And so what that also means is that Amazon sellers are going to seek alternative talent sources a la VAs. You're going to see demand for help go up, especially from the Philippines, because the cost advantages. If I tried to hire somebody down the street from me, it would cost me more, and their talent isn't necessarily trained. There's not a lot of equivalent to Amazenation inside of the United States, right? Somebody's not training them how to sell on Amazon and give them a certificate. Like, that doesn't exist in the United States. And so you guys have a huge advantage. First mover advantage, a talent advantage, education advantage. Roxanne, what else do you think is changing of late?
I think one of the things, or one of the major changes, is really keeping up to date with trends that's out there. So I know most of the people would say they don't like AI because it's to this and that, but I think it's also important that we don't just 100% rely to AI, but we know how to use it to our advantage, especially for time-saving work that needs to be done. There are things that you can definitely get an AI to do, but at the same time, you also have to have that high detail detail that I was talking about earlier for you to know which is actually applicable or not. Say, for example, if you want to do a copy for an Amazon listing, you can start it off by doing AI instead of manually thinking about all the words or descriptions that goes with a product, but then also have that high detail to know if specific keywords suggested by an AI is actually applicable or not. So it has to go both. In life, it's gonna be the same. On top of being book smart, you also have to be street smart. It's not just a one-way thing. You have to be able to upgrade yourself and learn what are the power tools out there that you need to know about for you to be efficient in what you do. It's not just about being able to submit your papers, but submitting your papers on time, because that's very important. When you start working with clients, there will be deadlines, and you can't just say, oh, I need to move this deadline or I need an extension. Real world does not work that way. These deadlines are there and these expectations are there because that's expected of you as an employee. These are the things that you should always keep yourself up to date with.
And
Wow.
TikTok, that thing's coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yes, lots of TikTok users in the Philippines, and in the e-commerce space, they also entered. So they started as just a video sharing or video platform competing with YouTube, but now they entered also in the e-commerce space. And I'd like to highlight golden nuggets that they mentioned, Steven and Roxanne, that talent will supply of talent. That's why there's a sense of urgency for VAs like us to really upskill and be there in terms of their game, in terms of making sure that we are ahead and we are aligned with what's happening in the e-commerce platform. So I'm interested with what you mentioned, Steven, in terms of Amazon sellers' experience, in terms of hitting the peak already, but for the talent, we are not yet there. Meaning there's still a lot of potential and opportunities for VAs. That's why they need also to be quick in terms of getting up to pace with their decision and goals. And what Roxanne mentioned is not just book smart, but also street smart, because as she mentioned, AI is already catching up. So lots of tools already. And these tools, we need to be familiar with it quick so that we can adapt to these changes. So thanks for those insights.
When I'm trying to get some street noodles, I want the street smart guy with me.
Agree. Not the book smart guy.
No.
Yes, I'm sure right now the viewers, especially the aspirants or those who are demotivated to find, clients facing rejections, this video would somehow gives them encouragement that a lot of sellers out there are still looking for virtual assistants. They just need to apply and look for the right clients or team. And speaking of virtual assistants, I'd like to know, Steven, why do you like to hire our students from Amazenation? What do you like about our students?
Well, first of all, typically people who try and get certified or go learn tend to be more detail-oriented. And so we like hiring detail-oriented people. They're usually go-getters when it comes to education. The number one reason somebody joins MAG is to learn. And the number one reason they stay is to keep learning. There's some congruity to that, right? So somebody that goes out to learn, more likely to be successful and be happy at MAG. By the way, piece of a suggestion for those that are interested, for those that are trying to get their first job as a VA, right? And that's a lot of people listening to this. My best advice to you, and this is advice that's not specific to MAG, this is for generic hiring advice, is be honest with whoever you're applying to and tell them what you can and can't do. So a lot of people that don't have the Amazon experience, it's okay to tell them that, right? It's okay to be like, look, I understand how to do X, Y, Z, and that's it. But if you teach me, I will be loyal and I will do everything I can to help you. And if I got a message like that and I was a brand owner, I'd be like, I want that guy. Because a lot of the other noise all sounds very similar, right? So if you're looking for a way to set yourself apart, it's real talk. It's eliminate the flowery, resume enhancing, I'm the greatest, or hope you're having a great day. That stuff does not resonate to an Amazon seller. Right before they went resume and application, their listing just went down. They don't need to be told today's a good day. They know it's a terrible day for them, right? Like they wouldn't be hiring you otherwise. They want to know that you have tenacity and grit. They want to know that you're going to come in, roll your sleeves up and say, hey, I'm here to help. I'm here to work. I'm going to find a way to beat down Amazon because it's all of us against Amazon. All of us against the Amazon because the system is rigged, it's broken, and there's nobody at Amazon that cares about sellers. So your job as a virtual assistant is to care about the seller's brand. Convince them that you care.
Thank you so much for that wonderful advice. It's so aligned because one of our trainings to our students that to personalize their cover letter, do not copy paste it, be sincere, show that you really want to do the job. When they do that, they get replies from clients that they want to hire them because they show that sincerity, their tenacity, and grit that they really want to serve the clients. Apollo?
Yeah, and I also would like to get insights from Roxanne, being from the human resources. What do you like most about the students from Amazenation, aside from what Steven mentioned, that they want to learn, they want to keep on learning? So from your experience.
Well, first off is I really like that they understand our core values. That's one. Most of the applicants that we've had from Amazenation took the time to go to our website and look at our core values. And for me, as someone in HR, that's very important because now they are interested to know more about us as a company and understand what we do versus them just forcing themselves over to our company. So them being interested in how we want to run things and how we want the culture to be is very important for me. So as Stephen Pope said, go to our website, www.myamazonguide.com/phjobs if you want to check out our listings, our openings, and if you want to check out the job descriptions that we have for each position. And also don't forget to go to our core values, which is the same, but it's /core-values. So review the core values first, because for me as someone who's hiring, I want to see if you did your research in the first place, right? Or is it just you sending out your application to all possible clients? I'm sure there's a lot of trends in Facebook or in Instagram or in TikTok that tells you, hey, this is what you can do. Use AI to send out 100 resumes to 100 clients. You actually knowing the core values, being detail-oriented, because you went through our core values, for me is very important when I start hiring.
Thanks, Roxanne. Yeah, we indeed cover that in Amazenation because we always tell our students that it's important for you to have alignment with mission, vision, and core values, because it's not just about the money. Because if it's just about the money, then you can just apply to any company. But if you want to stay long and really gel well with the people and have a good time working in a specific company, then your values should also be aligned with the values of that organization that you're applying into. And for those who are watching, aside from researching on the company in terms of their mission, vision, and core values, you need to also be prepared with your skills, what you can bring into the table. So alignment with that. I know we already discussed a lot about having tenacity, having grit, being book smart, not just book smart, but also street smart. So to those who are kind of confused on where can they start, because lots of things were already discussed, lots of golden nuggets were already thrown. From your advice, Steven and Roxanne, where can they start? How can they start to focus on specific skills? What are the specific skills that they can develop for them to stay relevant in the ever-evolving Amazon marketplace?
You got to do it. You can't just theorize it, right? Like, you got to go do it. And so if you're getting stuck, you've graduated, you've got the certificates, and you're stuck at that stage, go do some free work. Go give your time. And this is very difficult, right? Like, very difficult because you need income ASAP, and I get it. But if you go give your services to free, and by the way, we pay our interns, we're not looking for free work. This isn't for me. But if you go and message, whatever platform you're applying on, online jobs or sellercentraljobs.com, whatever it might be, if you just contact these sellers, these brands, and say, hey, I will give you 2 weeks of free work no matter what you want, just tell me what to do. There is a strong possibility that'll convert into a job, first of all. And second, even if it doesn't, you now have 2 weeks of extra experience. Or maybe you get 1 day of extra experience because it goes so terribly. And you're like, oh, don't do that again, right? Because you learn by making mistakes if you're deductive. Show up on time. Make sure your webcam is working. Some of these classic things that could be a blunder, first-time virtual assistant, could make a meaningful difference. So the doing, the practical, is extraordinarily valuable, especially comparing the sector of talent, the talent pool. If you have 1 day of practical knowledge, you are 100 times more hireable than the next guy who has 0 days of practical knowledge and has the exact same education as you, right? Because you can go in there and you're like, I have touched a template file and I have clicked the upload button, or I have filed an Amazon seller support ticket. I would say get started by getting practical knowledge wherever possible.
Yeah, and to share as well, when we have our hiring, one of the things that I also like from people in Amazenation is that they can actually talk through their experiences in the Amazon Seller Central space as well. So I know that you have coaches, right? And they get to talk to their coaches and practice on some Amazon processes with their coaches. And the great thing about that is when they talk to us, they know what they're talking about. That's one of the things that I personally like, because they also are truthful, wherein if someone has not really graduated the course yet, they would actually tell us that they're still in the middle of completing their course with you guys. And for me, that's also very important. That way, I know that this person truly is to upskill himself by taking courses, really wants it, because that's one of the things that I'm looking for, right? Does this person really want it? That is what sets them apart from all the other candidates who would just go in there and say, hey, I'm available, because we don't look for someone who's just available. We want someone.
There's a lot of people who are available.
Yeah. In fact, we have over 1,000 applications because we offer 100% remote work opportunities. To set yourself apart, you have to show us that you really want it.
I watched 50 of Stephen Pope's videos, and in this one video, he said this, and it helped me so much. Boom. Wow. Okay, you've watched videos. That's a huge edge.
Thank you for reminding us, our students who are still in the process of finishing the modules, to study and keep on learning, because when we keep on learning, we are growing. Actually, looking towards the future, what plans do you have for my Amazon guy? Are you guys planning to have any new services, expansions, or initiatives that you're particularly excited about?
I'm hoping for a boring year in 2024. That's not the answer you were expecting. But I have had 100% growth years, year in, year out. Last year, we grew 45%. This year, we're going to probably grow 30%. Right, so we're slowing down just a tiny bit. I'm looking for stability. I'm looking for maturity and some of those things personally. Having said that, I'm probably going to expand outside of Amazon soon and probably try and go upstream and try and get bigger clients, mid-market, enterprise. That seems to be where the market trends require us to go if we want to get upstream. So that's something that I'm working on. We're probably going to have to dive deeper into TikTok, Walmart, some of those services. Those are the top other two services that are requested of us. We also do website SEO. So we're setting meta tags. We're getting some increased demand on that. I also own my Shopify guy, my eBay guy, my Etsy guy. These are all very small add-on services that we also do. Amazon will probably always be the bulk of the most valuable things that we do, but we're probably going to also add things like Google AdWords and some other services. So those are things we're working on. And if you go to my website right now, myamazonguy.com, and you look at the flywheel, it's gigantic already. There's freaking everything. There's trademarks, there's A+ content, there's troubleshooting. I can get on-demand coaching calls and questions and all kinds of stuff. That's intentional. Here is the principle that I adhere to. And this is a great thing for everybody listening to do that. And it's super easy to replicate this. Hey, Mr. Client, what do you want? Give it to them. And then ask, did I give you what you wanted? Right? And that third step always gets forgotten. People forget the QA. They forget that last step. But I'm telling you right now, if you just do that, you make your entire career based on that principle, you are going to be so successful. Because if you simply give clients, brands, your boss, what they want, they're going to love you. They're going to absolutely endear you. They're going to want to keep you around. You make their lives easier versus you trying to go copy somebody else or copy the competitors or copy the other 1,000 applications. Simply ask them, what do you want? Give it to them, and then ask, did I give you what you wanted? And you'll be surprised to learn from that experience. Super valuable. So I run my whole agency like that. I don't really pay attention to my competitors very much. We just simply ask our customers what they want.
And since Steven shared with you guys that we're, adding more services to our catalog, then that means that in terms of hiring, we definitely are growing. We're forecasting to grow much more than our current headcount. We're currently at 500-ish headcount. So we're going to be growing a lot more than that, considering the amount of growth that we'll be foreseeing with all the services that we'll be adding over our long list of services already. Definitely, there's huge room to grow. If you're aspiring to be a VA or aspiring to go into the e-commerce space, while we do Amazon as our specialty, we have a lot of other, tricks in the hat. So I think we are very much capable to support someone who wants to build their career and not just, I just want to be a VA and that's it. Initially, I thought that was gonna be the case, to be honest. But X number of months down the line, I'm part of Stephen Pope's executive team. And imagine if he has more businesses. So I'm just part of my Amazon guy. So as Steven mentioned earlier, there's my Shopify guy, there's my agency guy. There's a whole lot of different companies that Stephen Pope would have. Definitely, if you want to grow your career, this is the place.
That's one of the biggest benefits of joining an agency, right? Like there's so much growth and opportunity to move up. If you're really good at managing people, I can tell you right now, I need to hire you. We have 500 employees. We need lots of managers, right? Because no manager can theoretically do more than one-on-one with 8 of them a week. You can't do much more than that, right? So we need a manager for every 8 employees, and even 8 managers also need a manager. Run the math on that pyramid scheme if you want, but we need a lot of people.
Wow, very exciting times for my Amazon guy. So for the graduates of Amazenation, so if you want to ride the wave with my Amazon guys, again, you can visit myamazonguy.com/PH job. So actually, I just want a curious question. I just want to ask because Steven, you mentioned that you are trying also from the Amazon space, you also plan to add Walmart, TikTok, and other platforms. I just want to ask what will be the name? Because a while ago, Roxanne mentioned my Shopify guy. So have you thought of the names for these extensions of my Amazon guy?
Yeah, the My Guy is the brand, and then insert whatever else.
That's the umbrella.
And I have backup names if I ever have to rebrand or anything. But my Walmart guy, I own that website. My Shopify guy, you get the idea. MyGuy.agency is the only one I couldn't get the right domain on because my agency guy was already taken 2 years ago. My bad. I missed that one. What happened was I started selling SOPs, standard operating procedures, on how to run an Amazon brand. And when I looked at the customer email addresses, 45% of them were agencies. And I'm like, what do you mean? Agencies are buying my Amazon brand, SOPs? And so I realized they're now a customer. And so now I also serve other Amazon brands. If you're a VA that listens to this and you get hired somewhere and you're like, I have no idea how to do this job, you should convince them to buy our SOPs as well. And then it's a full circle. But anyway, we will expand based on that same principle. Customer, what do you want? Let me give it to you. And then ask if it was what they wanted. And that sincerely is why our flywheel is so large, because customers ask for this stuff.
Wow. Thank you so much, Stephen Pope and Roxanne, for giving us so many learnings and golden nuggets. We are very grateful that you guys are here sharing your time with us. And for those of you guys who are watching and want to start to become an Amazon VA, go to our description box below. There's the link there for our free ebook. So you will have a head start on what it's like to become Amazon VA. And once again, any last words, Apollo, for them, or Steven or Roxanne?
Just want to thank Steven and Roxanne for all the value bombs that you've given the community and all those who are still aspiring or still thinking if this is for them, because of course this will be released in multiple platforms. So this will be available not just to our graduates but also to anyone who is subscribed to our social media platform. So for sure they will have lots of thinking to do if this is for them, or if they got excited also with opportunities not just in Amazon but the whole e-commerce space. So thank you for the insights, because me myself, I learned a lot, so I took lots of notes here. So I want to also revisit them and think what will be the future and also how I can apply the insights that you've given us. So thank you very much for your time, Steven and Roxanne.
Take action.
Never stop learning.
Never stop learning. Yes. Thank you so much, guys,
pleasure.
and everyone for watching up until this moment. See you next time. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to know more about freelancing, follow us on our Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and Instagram page. And if you have any inquiries, just contact the number on your screen. This is your Amazenation brand ambassador, Nina, and with Amazenation, we provide life-changing learning for extraordinary living. See you next time.